Welcome to EFT MBA Mastering Business Acumen with the help of EFT business experts. Learn the marketing, mindset, and skill set you need to create the EFT coaching practice of your dreams. Visit www.eftmba.com for more information. And now, here's the EFT training team that embodies the art and science of EFT. Alina Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner.
Hello, and welcome to today's show. Craig, you with me?
You bet.
Down to the wire. He makes it. All right. So, today we're talking about when is it time to quit your job and really start your EFT business. So, torn between two vocations, right?
Oh God!
or
the
other one that came to mind was take this job and shove it. I can't take it here no more. Okay, so what we're talking about today is something that I think that most people, when they start off their EFT practice, they're already doing something else, and there comes a time where you need to really ask yourself some tough questions and do some work to get you to the place where you really can confidently quit your day job, move on, really focus full-time on your EFT business. So we have some things that we want to share about considerations.
Yeah. So that's a big, it's a big deal because we see a lot of practitioners, all our mentees and in the MBA program, they come to us like, do I stay with this and add EFT around the edges and do it in the evenings and on the weekends? Do I quit? Do I go part-time? All the different renditions of concerns of how to make that transition from being a full-time something to being a part-time or full-time EFT practitioner, depending on what they want. So it's a real concern, and we see it a lot.
Okay.
So, the first question that often, needs to really be addressed is, why do I want this? Mm-hmm. Right? And that question can be used in a lot of ways. Number one is, why do I want to have this new EFT practice?
Right.
Right? Is it for life satisfaction reasons? Is it for wanting to make a difference? Is it that I want more time? I want to be working for myself. I want to, because I could see the financial potential for working for myself and letting go of the job that I've hated for so long that hasn't made a difference, and I've just been doing it for the money, and I can see the possibility. Right? There are just so many different ways to begin to look at, why do I want to make this change? What are the considerations that I have to have in letting go of one to be able to fully embrace the other?
So why do I want this? Your why has to be very big and powerful in getting you to where you want to go and manifesting a large practice, or just have it be fulfilling work that you do. We've seen people that come at this from the standpoint of they're retired, they want to give back, they want to just do this as something more like a vocation instead of a vocation. And we see people that really want to make this part of what they do to make money. It becomes their career, and I've certainly fallen into that category. I know a spiritual teacher who was saying, there's something that this person said in their book that I really didn't agree with, which is that if you are doing any kind of energy work, that you really do need to consider having another full-time job in order for there not to be any ethical challenges. And I don't agree with that at all. I think that if you have learned the ethics and the legal risk management side of this business, I think you can do very well, charge what you're worth for helping people really transform their lives, and and be well compensated for it without any ethical challenges whatsoever. And yes, there are going to be people that you say no thank you to working with because it's beyond your scope of practice, and all of those things are things that you need to learn. So why I want to do this is a big consideration. You need to have a big why. In fact, when you start talking about making 6 figures and 7 figures in this business or anything remotely related to this business of healing arts, you really need to have a big why. And we've had a show on this. We won't get into a lot of it, but you've got to have that wanting beyond yourself and just to have a new car. Not that there's nothing wrong with having a new car, but it's easier to manifest a big thriving practice if the reasons why you're doing it are really beyond just yourself. Right. So sit with that question. Another question.
Number 2. Can I make this process, can I make this transition in a reasonable and rational way? Or is it easier just to dive off the high dive and pull off the Band-Aid quickly and just do it?
Yes. So
quit
my
job. I'm so ready to quit. I'm quitting tomorrow and I'm going for it.
Right.
That's one way.
Yes. And so one way of doing that is absolutely how Craig just described, and the section of the bookstore or Amazon that is devoted to following your dream and people's success stories is like thousands and thousands of titles long. People that took a massive risk and did all kinds of things like mortgage their homes and figuring out a way to do it and moving back in with their parents to pursue a dream. So there are ways of doing it that are just out of some a financial advisor would advise you against, and people have succeeded. But there are also ways of doing this reasonably, setting out steps, making an action plan, seeing how you can build towards eventually leaving your job while you are working at your job. Now, there are people that just can't do it that way because of the demands of that particular line of work, and we've seen that too. So you're going to ask yourself, can I do this in a reasonable, rational way? And if you can't, then you need to design an evacuation plan for leaving as quickly as possible in a way that suits what it is that you having your eye on what it is that you want to do. And we'll say a little bit more of this when we get to the next 2 questions. I think that'll answer some of the issues around leaving in a rational, reasonable way.
Why don't you take the third one?
Yeah. 3, the big question that you've got to ask yourself is, am I afraid of failing?
Mm-hmm.
If you're afraid of failing, or we've done a show on this too, you can look it up, the fear of succeeding, you will self-sabotage, there will be blocks, you won't see a clear path. Even if you have an action plan, something will go wrong, you will be waylaid. You need to find, just like you do this with your clients, you've got to discover what it is that what is the fear there. If there is a pattern of you having failed every time you've tried to pursue your dream, or times in the past where you have tried and you weren't successful, then that's a list that you need to go through and clear with EFT or matrix reimprinting, tapping on the times in the past where you have fallen on your face so that you break that pattern and it doesn't happen here.
Yeah, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we carry that forward, don't we? And the fear,
sure
and
do.
That's why the transition of letting go of a job and moving on to what's next, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like marriages, right? Sometimes we hang in there way beyond the due date, or way beyond the date at which we're really ready to move on. It's just fear that's holding us back, that because we've had past experiences or past traumatic things that have happened, that it didn't work out right the last time, so I better just stay here where it's safe. Right?
And we also know the power and the energy and the forces in the unseen that come to our aid when we are clearly following our life's purpose and mission beyond current circumstances. So if you are staying in a place because you're afraid, you will not have all the necessary resources inward and outward and beyond the known world that come to your aid if you're staying in a place, in a job or a marriage or anything else that doesn't serve you, but you're staying there because of fear. Amazing the things that show up. People will call you. You'll pick up a paper or periodical that'll have some tidbit of information for you. You'll get a hit to turn left instead of right, and boom, your things just show up. Opportunities then just start showing up. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 4, big question to ask yourself. Will I commit to learning about the business and marketing aspects of an EFT business?
Ooh, I have to do that too. Can I just be good at tapping? I mean, I'm really good. I'm really good. Everybody tells me, every client, and everybody in my family and everybody I work with says the work is amazing. It's profound.
Yep.
It's changed my life.
Yep.
But
okay. But
problem, So there's a problem.
What is the problem? What's the problem with that? Sounds good to me.
But you're gonna run out of the people you know pretty quick that are looking for your help. And
yeah, but those people will tell other people. That's what I'm counting on.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that being enough to have a practice that lasts for more than a year. Right? You're going to have to reach out to people beyond the people you know and beyond the ones they know. And you're going to have to know how to do that. And doing that is an art and a science, and, it's like in the MBA. It's the art, science, and business of having an EFT practice. We have to be able to know how to market ourselves in whatever way feels right for you. So please know that there's not just a right and wrong way. Everybody has their own niche and their own specialty and their own way that they like to market and are comfortable and all of those things. There's definitely a lot of variations that's individualized. But you have to be able to know how to run the business and to be able to market yourself and put yourself out there to the world so they know what you do and how you can help them.
Yes.
And you have to make a commitment to learning those things, and that's not always something, people especially that have had corporate jobs and not been entrepreneurs or worked for themselves, there's a learning curve there.
Right. Because, when you start to think at the very top of your head about all the steps that are needed to market your business thoroughly and successfully, let's say picking up the phone, calling someone that you might not know very well, standing in front of a group of people and explaining what it is that you do, coming up with a design or hiring somebody that does those types of things for you, and some of them may work out and some of them might not, and you might have to fire people that are on your design team or your website team or your social media team or whatever. And all of those can be potential fears, frustrations, obstacles that if you don't go through will leave you paralyzed and dead in your tracks. So we've seen practitioners that start with a big bang. Oh, yes, I got my website up. I'm done. No, that's just the beginning. There's so much more to learn, and you've got to get comfortable. And one of the scariest things that you can, not scariest, the most harmful, right? I was just talking about this with a friend of mine. The most harmful or dangerous thing that you can do in your business is lack of knowledge of what to ask for. So if you go out there and say, I have $5,000, build me a website, I don't know anything about it, do it, that is a recipe for disaster. You've got to at least know what you need to have on that site. What elements of the site are going to bring you traffic, clients, get you out there, have you doing some of the work like simple things on your own so it can be interactive and alive and where you can add content to it. So it is a potentially very, very costly mistake that I see people do is, okay, I'm going to hire an expert, but I'm not going to know anything about what I need to know about what needs to be done, and then 10,000, 25,000, I've heard of dollars later, boom, this is what happens. You're screwed. So it's important to learn at least the bare minimum of what it is you're looking for someone to do for you. So all of that requires some sense of business and marketing in your business. And hiring a business mentor or belonging to a business program is something that we really feel you need to ask yourself, am I willing to learn how to do some of these things?
Right.
Okay, next.
Okay, next. Excuse me. Am I willing to create a budget to see how much is actually needed? Right? So some business experts say that you need to save somewhere between 9 to 12 months of living expenses to launch your business. So you need to have the stockpile of capital in order to start a business. Definitely if you're going to start a restaurant, and definitely if you're going to start, a kind of
brick and mortar,
in which you have to have inventory and you have to have equipment. The nice thing is, how much equipment do you need to?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think that starting an EFT business and having it thriving doesn't necessarily mean that you need to save up a year's worth of living expenses. But I am often surprised when I ask people, have they come up with a budget to see how much they need to be making, and they don't have any idea. They're afraid to even look at how much they need to be making, and that keeps them from taking necessary steps to change, save, alter. Look, if it's really your dream, you will save money. And if you really do have a job that sucks the living daylights out of you and you have no time whatsoever, then I've seen people downsize to a barista so that they have some money coming in, scale way back on their lifestyle so that they can then fulfill their dream and become successful in a short period of time. So that you have to look at. You've got to look at how much you actually need. And then you'll have some clue as to what you need to be making. And for most people, you'd be surprised at how it is once you look at those numbers. It isn't scary once you have it down. Okay.
Good. Okay. Good. You know what? Fear just gets in the way all the time, doesn't it?
It sure does. We know that. We know that. We work with it all the time.
All right. What else? Let's go to, how about next? Am I willing to resolve my working on money issues? So am I really willing to resolve what is the way? Because what if one person is changing jobs into having an EFT practice? Right. They're good at what they do. They even have some marketing skill. Maybe in their last job they worked in the social media department. So they know how to do press releases, they know how to do social media, but they've got some internal money issues about spending, saving, deservement, lots of different personal, emotionally related money issues that they hadn't really countered as part of the business plan of what they needed to do to launch their EFT business.
Mm-hmm. So even if they are making a lot of money, they will lose it. They will suddenly, some typical signs of sabotaging behavior is they go out and they get their first client to purchase one of their packages, and let's say it's $2,500. The client pays them, and the next day they have a break in the pipes in their house that'll cost them $2,300. Those
or $2,499.
Exactly. It's eerie how that kind of stuff does happen, and when you see that, you know that it is part of the money issues that you have that are preventing you from really thriving. And if people that made a lot of money didn't have money issues, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have people that are making seven figures in my practice, and I do, because those people still have money blocks. They still it's either they don't have a pot to piss in, or they're on the brink of bankruptcy, or their life is teetering on catastrophe or chaos. So
that can
it's
be
not
hard
enough.
to imagine. That can be hard to imagine, that many of the people listening are going, how could somebody be making 6-7 figures and have money issues?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't even relate. I'm trying to make 15, 20, 30, whatever grand, and somebody's making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, and they got a money issue. Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Except they don't know what's happening behind the scenes, do they?
Exactly. I mean, I was aware of this when I took my first money manifestation class. I was in my early 20s, and the person that taught the class suggested that we tithe our money. And I thought, making whatever it was I was making back then, not a lot, that it was a big deal for me to tithe 10% of my income. And he was sharing a story about a woman who was a very, very wealthy person, heiress, lived in a mansion, drove, very expensive car, and she said that she could not afford that 10% or even 1% of tithing. And so then that's when I started to realize it has nothing to do with the amount of money. It really is a mindset.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because with more money comes more risk, comes more expenses, etc. So if no matter, the feeling underneath, no matter what I'm making, it's not enough. Mm-hmm. The same stressors are there on relationships, on family, on time, on health, right? So if the same underlying emotional themes are still there, no matter what dollar amount on the top of the ledger sheet, all those issues that's affected by that not enoughness comes through.
Right.
So working on your money issues, that's why we developed the money course, because, all those things come up, and it's fun to play with them, but it's a very serious issue. It really is.
Yep. So good. So ask yourself these questions. Be very honest with yourself. Create a budget, action plan, a tapping plan for your fear of failing, times in the past where you have failed, things around money issues that you need to clear, and then set out on leaving your job for fulfilling your desire to have a thriving, successful practice that will feed you mind, body, and soul.
Okay. And, we love to hear the success stories about how people did that. So please let us know. We share stories all the time about how you went from one to the other, about how you made your transition successfully. We love hearing those stories. Great.
So we are accepting applications for the next round of EFT MBA. To get your application and set up a free business consult with Craig, just go to EFTMBA.com, and we will speak with you in a couple of weeks on some other related topic of building your EFT business.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. Please, suggestions are always welcome. Go back. There's lots of archives to our past shows, and we just love hearing from you. So thank you for listening in, and we'll see you next time. And in the meanwhile,
remember to keep on tapping. There's a little delay. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to EFT MBA with Elena Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner. To get your free report on the 5 secrets to create a rockin' EFT practice and to learn more about the EFT MBA program, visit www.EFTMBA.com.